Hello, viewers. You're welcome to a lecture series on the protozoans. Today's lecture will be on the sporozoans, the spore-forming protozoans. In my earlier videos, I've already explained the different groups of protozoans based on the locomotor apparatus, the flagellate protozoans, the amoeboid protozoans, and the ciliate protozoans, as well as the sporozoans. So today's lecture will be on the sporozoans, which are spore-forming non-motile protozoans. So the sporozoans, what are sporozoans? They are basically the spore-forming protozoans, just as the name implies, and they do not have locomotor apparatus. And as such, they cannot move from one place to another. They lack the capability of moving from one place to another. Most of these sporozoans are known to be pathogenic. They are known to be pathogenic organisms, causing various types of diseases in humans and even in other animals. So the sporozoans basically are non-motile unicellular parasitic protozoans that have alternating sexual and asexual generations and reproduces by means of spores. The sporozoans are non-motile. They are not able to move because they do not have organelles for locomotion. And they're unicellular. They are parasitic protozoans inhabiting other hosts, and most of them are pathogenic. And they have alternating sexual and asexual generations. They undergo alternation of generations and they reproduce by means of spores. They reproduce by means of spores. These sporozoans are called intracellular parasites. They are called intracellular parasites. They live within cells to cause problems. An example is Plasmodium vivax that causes malaria in humans, or Plasmodium falciparum. We have different types, different species of Plasmodium. Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium ovale. These are different species of Plasmodium that are responsible for malaria in humans, that cause malaria in humans, particularly Plasmodium falciparum. The earlier stage sporozoan forms show some movement. The earlier stages actually show some kind of movement. They do not possess locomotor organelles in their later stage. These sporozoans, the younger stages, usually have the capability to move, but as adults, they can't move from one place to another. Sporozoans belong to 4 main phyla. Okay, but 2 will be discussed now. Okay, they belong to the phylum Acetosporea and the phylum Epicomplaxa. They belong to the remaining 2 are now later classified into other groups. Now, we want to look at the phylum Epicomplaxa. The phylum Epicomplaxa. Phylum Epicomplaxa. The Epicomplaxa are large phylum of parasitic protists. They're a large phylum of parasitic protists. They are spore-forming unicellular parasites. They are spore-forming unicellular parasites, and they are so called because most of them have a unique organelle that is made up of a type of plastid called an epicomplast and an apical complex structure. They possess a structure known as the epicomplast, and that's the source of the name Epicomplaxa. The source of their name Epicomplaxa. The epicomplast is used by the organism for penetration into a host cell. They use the epicomplast to penetrate into the cell of the host cell. Flagellar or pseudopods are found only in certain gamete stage. Okay, certain gamete stages of this epicomplaxa may have flagellar or pseudopodia that enable them to move from one place to another. This group includes organisms like coccidia that causes coccidiosis, Then we have the gregarines, we have the pyroplasms, the hemogregarines, then we have Plasmodium. The most common among them is Plasmodium. Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium vivax. The different species of the Plasmodium parasite or the Plasmodium. All organisms of this phylum have an infectious stage, the sporozoid. All organisms of this phylum, Epicomplaxia, have an infectious stage that's called the sporozoid. All the species of this group except Nephromyces, a symbiote in marine animals, are endoparasites of animals. They are endoparasites. They parasitize animals. They live within animals. All epicomplaxants lack contractile vacuoles and locomotor processes. They lack contractile vacuole and locomotor apparatus. The epicomplaxants live within the body cavity of the cells of almost every kind of animal, including other epicomplaxants. They live in the body cavities of the cells of almost every kind of animal, including other epicomplaxants. Plasmodium causes malaria, and Eumeria and Isosperia cause coccidiosis. Epicomplaxants feed by absorbing either dissolved food ingested by the host, that is saprozoic nutrition, or the host cytoplasm and body fluids. So they actually absorb dissolved food from the host that are already digested by the host. Respiration and excretion occur by simple diffusion through the cell membrane. Respiration and excretion take place through diffusion through the cell membrane. And the life cycle, sexual and asexual generations may alternate. Sexual reproduction may immediately precede spore formation. Sexual reproduction in the epicomplaxis may precede spore formation. Asexual reproduction is by binary fusion or multiple fusion, a process known as schizogamy. Asexual reproduction among the epicomplaxis is by binary or multiple fusion, or a process, the binary or multiple fusion. The multiple fusion is called schizogamy. Schizogamy is a form of asexual reproduction in which the nucleus of an individual divides many times before the cytoplasm divides to form the daughter cells. Schizogamy is a form of asexual reproduction in which the nucleus of an individual divides many times. The nucleus divides many times instead of, in some cases, in the mitosis and meiosis of other organisms. Then when the nucleus divides, it forms two daughter cells. But in this case now, the nucleus divides many times before the daughter cells are formed. This process enables some parasites, including the malaria parasite, to undergo rapid proliferation in the body tissues of an infected host. Okay, because of the fact that they don't wait for new cells to fully form. This nucleus divides several times, and then it now splits to form several cells of these organisms. It enables them to proliferate in the body tissues of the infected host. And the parasite Plasmodium, for example, this stage of life cycle, the schizogony, occurs in the liver and red blood cells of humans. Schizogony in Plasmodium falciparum occurs in the cells of the liver and red blood cells. In the red blood cells, in the liver, the Plasmodium proliferates and then releases the merozoites. While in the blood cells too, they also carry out such multiplication. The parasite, the sporozoid, enters the host cells and grow while feeding on the cell contents. It then undergoes a multiple asexual reproduction, a sexual division, schizochrony, into many individuals that are called the merozoites. Okay, and divides into many individuals that are called the merozoites. The host cell wall ruptures, permitting each individual to invade a new red blood cell and repeat the process. Okay, it divides. And now here is a figure that's showing the life cycle of the Plasmodium falciparum, the life cycle of Plasmodium falciparum. Now here, this is what happens when a mosquito bites a human. It's while trying to obtain blood, it injects the sporozoid of the Plasmodium falciparum into the hosts, the blood of the host, and then the sporozoid now migrate to the liver, and then they now proliferate through a process known as schizogony. So they enter the liver, reproduce asexually, and release merozoites into the bloodstream. They will now release the merozoites into the bloodstream. The host cell now bursts and that's where several merozoites are released into the bloodstream. Then the merozoites multiply inside the red blood cells and are released. The cycle now repeats. They multiply and the red blood cell now ruptures and they may infect other red blood cells again. Or some of them, certain merozoites develop into gametocytes. Some of them now develop into gametocytes. And the gametocytes are now obtained by the mosquito. The gametocytes are ingested by another previously uninfected mosquito. That's the female Anopheles mosquito. And then here, the fertilization occurs within the mosquito, within the intestine of the mosquito to form the oocyst. Now, the gametocytes develop into gametes and reproduce sexually, forming merozoites within the mosquito. So now form merozoites. Now the mosquito now feeds. While feeding, mosquito ingests Plasmodium sporozoites into the human. They ingest the sporozoites into the humans. The sporozoites attack the liver, they burst, then attack the forming merozoites. The merozoites attack the host red blood cells, and then they burst. And then they also reinfest the red blood cells, or some of them form gametocytes, which now carry fertilization, forms the oocyst, which now produces the sporozoites, and the cycle now continues. So that's basically how the Plasmodium falciparum reproduces. Now I want to look at the next phylum, next phylum of spores and sporozoites or spore-forming protozoans, which is a phylum Acetosporea. Phylum Acetosporea. They are a group of protists that are parasites of animals, especially marine invertebrates. The organisms in the phylum Acetosporea are parasites of animals, especially of marine invertebrates. Two groups which come under this are the haplosporids and the paramyxids. There are two different types of Acetosporea, two groups, the haplosporids and the paramyxids. Now, the haplosporid spores have a single nucleus and an opening at one end covered with an internal diaphragm. On the other hand, the paramyxids grow within the digestive system of marine invertebrates and produce a multinuclear spore. They produce multinuclear spores. Now, thanks a lot for watching this video on the sporozoans or the spore-forming protozoans. This actually enables us to draw the curtain on the discussion of the sporozoans. Our next video will be on the kingdom Animalia, the animals, and we'll discuss elaborately about the lower animals. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't forget to click on the notification button for more updates.